Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeannie Sweeney, and I'm with the Above Board Chamber, and we are excited about today's program. We're going to learn strategies for growth and expansion going forward with some amazing business leaders in Southwest Florida. They have done so many different things, and we are so excited about each one of them. The things we're going to learn from them today, I hope you have paper and pencils or pens and write this stuff down, because they have totally made a difference in Southwest Florida and some beyond. Some are all over the country, and I think we have one that's out of the country. So we're very excited about that. The Above Board Chamber is, what we do is panels of experts each year, that teach business topics throughout Southwest Florida. We meet in Lee County and we meet in Naples. And we're very excited that we are able to use webinars now. We've been doing webinars since March. We've been doing so many a month to make sure our business community gets the right information so we can teach them the right thing to keep them up and going and let them know that they're going to be okay, and we're going to make sure they get the information so they can be better companies. So we're very excited about it. As members, we get to do a lot of different things. They get to put stuff on our website. They can put blogs up for free. They can do press releases for free. They can do so many different things for free because we want to make sure our members have every resource that we can possibly give them. So let's get this program going, and we're excited. I'm going to introduce our sponsors. We're going to bring up Jessica Walker right now. Jessica, thank you for being one of our sponsors. Tell us a little bit about your wonderful company that you belong to, whose birthday is today. 41 years old, Jessica. That's really good.
Thanks, Jeannie. Yes, Markham Norton Mosteller Wright & Company has been around for 41 years. It's amazing to know that they've been doing such great things for our community for that long. It's a great team of people started by Gail Markham 41 years ago today. So if you aren't familiar with our firm, I'm happy to meet with you and tell you more about it. But we are an accounting and business consulting firm here in Fort Myers and in Naples. Obviously, current times have us doing a lot of things virtually, and we are capable of helping our clients virtually and remotely as well. So, we're always available for that. Some things you might not know about our firm is that we do a lot of other services. So we do business consulting and specialized consulting to help you manage your succession planning or figure out the best way to get your return on investments, how to bring in partners, how to sell, how to merge, how to do different things when you're a business owner. We also offer human resources consulting. So sometimes you might not want to have a full-time person in-house, but you might need just a little bit of help with handbooks, hiring, things of that nature. So we have a consultant that can help with that on our team. We also offer some marketing and PR consulting on a smaller scale for clients as well. So if there's just small projects they might need a little bit of help with, we can assist with that from time to time. We are around, like I said, in Naples and in Fort Myers. Additionally, some other services are forensic accounting, family mediation, and litigation support. So sometimes diving into the numbers can be a little overwhelming. And so a lot of attorneys and professionals will seek out our services to help them kind of break that down and understand that a little bit more. So like I said, we're very in tune with our community. We love working here. We love living here, and we love supporting everybody that we can. So if you haven't had a chance to work with us, are interested in learning some stuff, please reach out to me. Even if you look at us through our social media sites, we have Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We can create videos as well. So just definitely give us a look-see and know that we do a little bit more than just the accounting side of things, but we definitely have the experts for all of it.
Well, thank you, Jessica. We're honored to have you as members and honored to have you as a sponsor. And we have one of your staff we're going to meet in a couple of minutes to tell us about what she does for your company. So thank you again for being part of our program.
Thank you.
Now we want to bring up Patrick. Patrick Neal, you want to tell us a little bit about your company? Patrick is also a sponsor.
Yeah, it's good to be here today and good to be with Above Board. So I appreciate the opportunity to be a sponsor and also to be a panelist. My firm has been here in Collier County since 1987. I've been a member of the Florida Bar since 1978. So I'm older than dirt, basically. But my firm, as I say, has been here since 1987, started on Marco. Now our primary office is here in Naples. My practice is primarily focused around small businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, and all of the things that go with that. We call it sort of cradle to grave service, all the way from being when you first get your idea and want to start your business or want to acquire a business, all the way to the time when you're looking to get out of that business and do succession planning. So we work with you all the way through that. I was an entrepreneur for a number of years. When I was not full-time practicing law, I had an international distribution business. So I've got a little bit of experience on both sides of the table there. We also do a lot of construction and contracting law. I was the attorney for the Contractor Licensing Board here in Collier for 15 years. And then we do land use and zoning and also some litigation. So we try and provide a fairly full service to the small business. We don't do divorce, we don't do PI, we don't do criminal law. Those are some of the things we don't do. But we'd love to work with anybody. If you have an interest in any of those areas, please give us a call.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for you're going to be on our panel today, so we're very excited about that.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a member and for being a sponsor. Now we're going to bring up Mr. Brian Chapman. Brian?
I'm coming.
Oh, there you are.
I had to press the start my video button. It was complicated.
There you go.
Thank you, Jeannie, for having us, and being with the Above Board Chamber is always a great time for us. Great networking. I tell you a little bit about Chapman Insurance Group. I also, as Patrick mentioned, I'm a panelist today as well. Chapman Insurance Group, we celebrated our 11th anniversary this year.
Happy anniversary.
Yes, thank you. It's obviously been an interesting year for all of us, but we started in Port Charlotte, Florida, opened up our second office in Punta Gorda, our third office in Cape Coral, and currently we have an office in Fort Myers now, with sites on Collier County as our next stop. So all that in 11 years, team of about 42 today. Our niche per se is really focused on Southwest Florida specific. So we can ride all over the state of Florida, but we know Southwest Florida, it's our home. So if you see it, it has wheels or it has walls and it's in Southwest Florida, we probably can insure it. Just that's our appetite and that's what we focus on, from families, from retirees, to the most complicated businesses, even businesses that have made the Inc. 5000 recently or 5000 Inc. recently. Congratulations to both Brian and Bill on that accomplishment. That's a job well done, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, Brian, you're a pleasure also to have as a member of the Above Board Chamber. You do so many things in the community as well, and we're excited to have you as a panelist again, and as a sponsor, we're very honored. So thank you so much. So let's get our panel going. We're going to start some questions. Basically, the first three people introduced themselves pretty well. So we're gonna pull up Bill. Bill, the president of My Shower Door. Bill, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we start? Put your mic.
We should be all set.
There you
Does
go.
that work?
Yes.
Got it.
Jeannie, thanks for inviting us to join. You've been very persistent, and I finally saw the light to join Above Board Chamber. People that don't know much about My Shower Door, we've got 8 locations throughout Florida, ranging from Collier County all the way through Orlando. We just opened our 8th store, which is in Cape Coral. We just opened it right after Memorial Day this year. We also decided to grow vertically, and we started our own glass manufacturing plant, which we named D3 Glass. We're a family business. We started with the 3 original family members in 2003 in North Naples, and we're now at 110 employees throughout Florida. My Shower Door has expanded into doing not just frameless shower doors, but we're now doing glass office partitions, glass chair mats for under your desk in home offices. We do COVID barriers out of glass. We just did a lot for Collier County and Lee County for their administration buildings. And we're also doing wine closets, very popular in Naples. So we've expanded our product line and we've expanded opportunities for other staff to grow within the company.
Well, excellent. Bill, I'm going to start with you for the first question.
Sure.
So here we go. I hope everyone's ready because these are some amazing questions. I see that the addition to your 8 Florida-based frameless shower door showrooms, you have 6 affiliate stores across the country. Are these your stores as well?
No. What we did is I had a friend that owned California Closets. And when he started California Closets, he decided to get into a franchise model. And it was really good and very profitable. But what he told me is after 2 years, all of the people that he helped start business, the relationship turned very unfriendly. Instead of helping them grow their business, he was chasing to get royalties. They decided not to pay royalties for one reason or another. So we opted to do a different model. We sell our business model, but when people buy into it, it's their own business. It is not a franchise, so we call them an affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 6 stores that we become their distributor. So they use our business model that we've developed here. I had hired Tim Cartwright a few years ago, probably 10 years ago, and we wrote the whole business model out. And I sell the business model across the country to other entrepreneurs that want to start family shower door businesses. And then we become their distributor and we sell all the parts to them from here.
Very good, very good. That's an excellent plan. Our next panelist we're going to ask a question to is Mr. Brian Riss. Brian, I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'm going to ask you your first question.
Well, thank you. In first, might I say that, you know, every time I've been on one of these panels, I'm just always so impressed with the other people that are on the panel. I'm not exactly sure how you talk us all into it, but it's I feel very privileged to be amongst these people. For those of you who may not know who I am and my company is I founded StormSmart actually now 25 years ago. Last week was our 24th anniversary in business, so we're in our 25th year. We are the largest manufacturer of hurricane protection products in the world, actually, and certainly in the state of Florida. Today, we employ about almost 240 people, and we service and sell products pretty much throughout the world. But we're mainly focused and grew up in Southwest Florida, and that's really where the most of our business comes from. It's very interesting to hear Bill talk about that licensing model or the affiliate model. That's kind of an interesting way of growing. We are a full service company, but what really makes us different and makes us special is we kind of developed the idea or pioneered the idea of using a fabric as a hurricane protection product. And today our Stormcatcher screens are probably one of the most popular products used not only to protect against hurricanes, but for just to improve living style and maybe save energy and create more living space. And I'm just very blessed to lead this company.
Excellent. I want to remind our panel, our people up in the gallery, down on the bottom, there's something called Q&A. If you have any questions, please write down your questions, and when we have time, we'll try to answer as many as possible. So thank you, Brian. It's amazing that you are all over the place and all the great things you're doing, and you're super generous to our community. So thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah.
The next person we're going to ask a question from, and we have not heard from her, is Tammy. Tammy, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll ask you a question?
Sure. Yeah, Jessica did a great job of giving an overview of the firm. I am a partner at Markham Norton Mosteller Wright & Company. I've been there for 21, 22 years, so pretty much all my life. And love working there, you know, great team, great culture. I focus on taxes, business consulting, and also focus on the healthcare industry.
Excellent. So I'm going to ask you your first question. You ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, good. How do I know when it's time to start thinking about growing or expanding my business? A lot of people want to know that.
Okay. I think there's a few indicators. Number one being, you know, maybe you're just outgrowing your space. You don't have enough offices for your staff. You don't have enough room to store the equipment that you need to run your business. That's a good indicator. Number two, you and your staff are just too busy to take on more work. Could be a good indication that you need more employees. Another indicator is you have a good, strong customer base and you have reoccurring revenue from those customers. That could be a good time to think about expanding if that's the case. Another thing is your customers are demanding more services or more products from you. And I think last and probably most important is just keeping tabs on your industry trends. Just keeping track of those can indicate that your market's on the rise and you definitely want to take advantage of that opportunity.
So Tammy, do a lot of people come to you to ask you those questions and you're able to help them out with that?
Absolutely. We have, current clients that we help them keep tabs on their financial statements. We have strategic meetings with them, and we definitely help them through that process and make that decision of when is the right time to go ahead and pull the trigger and expand.
Excellent. The next question is for Patrick. Patrick, as I grow my business, are the legal consequences I should take into account? If so, what?
Well, yeah, thanks again for being on the panel, and I'm sort of overwhelmed to be on a panel with these kind of people. So it's how I got here, but I'm not sure, but I'm glad to be here.
You're here because you belong here, and you're excellent on what you do.
There are some very dramatic legal consequences as you grow your business, and really some of them have been touched on already. With Tammy and with Brian and Bill, all of them has sort of alluded to the fact that as you grow, you need to keep looking at your legal structure and your legal model. And that's why I always try, and when I'm representing a client, we represent a lot of businesses, is to work as a team. I always try and work as a team with their accountant. If they have a financial backer, I work with the financial backer. We all try and work together, because as you change, you may have started as a sole proprietorship. Well, then you need to form an entity. Does it need to be a limited liability company, or should it be a corporation? If it's a corporation, or if it's a limited liability company, what kind of tax structure? Should it be a disregarded entity? Should it be an S corporation? If it's a corporation, should it be an S corporation or a C corporation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you've got how many classes of stock should you have, those kinds of things. So all of those really need to be taken into consideration. And I think it's something that, as I say, using a team approach, every year you almost need to look at that. So yeah, as you grow your business, legal considerations, calling your lawyer, it's much better to call your lawyer before you need us than after you're in trouble and you're trying to get us to bail you out of it. It's a lot cheaper to pay me a little bit up front than to pay me a lot when I start litigating for you.
Yeah, team approach is important. You got to have a good team to start out a business. Our next question is for Brian Chapman. How do you determine the right time to grow or expand your business, Brian?
I think a lot of what Tammy said is relevant. It's need-based, whether it's your team or your clients or your prospective clients that are starting to overwhelm you. But I think the biggest piece for us and expanding and opening up additional locations was partly due to the infrastructure, but I would say more so with the kind of high tide of understanding the demographics of the community and how much of that community was your clientele. And at some point you reach kind of a marginal return on your investment, whether it's through marketing or community involvement. So if you're controlling, different businesses have different metrics to look at, but if you're controlling 10 to 12% of a market share in a community in Southwest Florida, if you go town by town or city by city, in our business, that's the leader. And at that point, you either have to decide, I'm going to expand with additional location or into different communities, or reverse course on the marketing dollars that you're putting in, because for every dollar you're putting out, you're not getting that ROI on it. So for us, it was really understanding how many people live here, how many households are here, how much of that community do you have as clientele, and once you've got a tight grip on that orange and all the juice is out, you really have to start looking at a different location and a different idea on how you're going to expand. You can do that internally with your existing clientele. For us, it would be by adding other lines of insurance, maybe that they're already purchasing. But the better decision for us, just having the market share that we had, particularly up in Charlotte County, and living in Lee County, because I live in Fort Myers, it made sense for us just to add some additional locations and expand. And that was the biggest tell for us, was trusting the data and trusting the information, using third party to show us how much market share that we did control, and realizing, okay, if we're going to continue pushing this forward and keep climbing, we need to expand and add additional locations.
And you're in the 3 counties. How many total offices do you have at this time?
Right now, just the 4 offices.
4?
2 in Charlotte and 2 in Lee.
Okay, good. Excellent. Okay, Bill, it's your turn. You ready?
It's back. I'm ready.
If you could turn the clock back 20 years, what would you do over so you could speed up the process? What have you learned in the past 20 years that we all can learn from? So that's 2 questions, but.
Yeah, I kind of thought about that. One of the big things I would have done differently is advertise more. When I first got started, we were on a bootstrap and we were just trying to make ends meet, and I was doing a lot of guerrilla marketing. But when I really started putting money into advertising and let people know that the product you have is a good product and you make brand awareness, the business really did start to grow exponentially. So if I turn the clock back 20 years, I would have started marketing much sooner than I did. That's the number one thing. The second is I would have hired more help quickly. We started with a family business, and when I was up north before I moved to Florida, it was just the 4 of us in the family, and I had a couple of part-timers. I sold that and moved here, and it took us a few years to really get some traction. But once we opened store number 2 and we had our processes down, then it was just a matter of making a 5-year plan, getting our goals to get to that 5-year plan and going from there. So if I had it to do over, I probably would have done more education for myself as a business owner. And then I definitely would have advertised much sooner than I did now.
Excellent, excellent. So when you moved to Naples, did you hire a firm right away to do the marketing?
I did. I've been through probably 7 firms in 17 years here, but I started with Mike Kennedy, who's now a professor at FGCU, and he teaches public relations and marketing. And he was my first contact.
Wow, interesting. Well, next question is for Brian Riss, which kind of goes right with this. Wouldn't you say, Brian? Brian, your company has been growing for years. StormSmart might be one of the best known companies in Southwest Florida. It would seem like you might not need to do a lot of advertising and market anymore, but yet you keep spending money. How do you determine how much to spend on marketing and why? Because we do see your commercials and different things up all the time. So tell us your secret.
I kind of echo on some of the things Bill said. Yeah. We have a kind of a mantra that we say, you advertise when times are good and you really advertise when times are bad. So that's really kind of the way we've done it. And luckily by doing it that way, we've never really had terrible times. We do it as a math equation. I know that if I want to sell a certain amount next month, next quarter, I know I have to spend a percentage this month, this quarter, in order to drive those sales. And I'll share with you that in our case, it's 3.5%. We always, if we want to sell X next month, we know that we have to spend 3.5% this month to get to that number. So we just live by that. The last thing we would ever cut would be our marketing budget. We continue to advertise good days, bad days, and it's allowed our business to continue to grow.
Excellent. People forget that the marketing people show us where to go, and they show us the picture, a different kind of picture to let us know, let us reach out to our community so they know we're here.
You hear so often that, a business is struggling and the first thing they do is cut their marketing budget. And that's like the kiss of death. It's just going to spiral you down more. You just have to hang in there, and you just got to believe in your systems. You've got to be wise about it. You have to seek good advice from professionals, but that should be the last thing you cut.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we have Connie Ramos Williams out in the attendees. I think she's probably like clapping about now.
She's a great one to advise you. Yeah.
She's the best.
Right.
Tammy,
Yes.
what financial considerations should be looked at before expanding your business?
Yeah, so I think first you have to figure out how are you going to pay for this, and you know, even before that, it's how much do I need? You know, so my recommendation is always to sit down and do a budget. Many considerations when working on a budget. You know, are you going to hire more people? And if so, how many? What are their salaries going to be? What are their benefits going to be? If you're going to add a new location, where is that location going to be? Is that location going to generate new revenue, or are you just shifting revenue from one location to, you know, another location? I think you also have to consider, are you going to build that building for the new location? Are you going to buy an existing building and do a build out? You know, all very, you know, good things that you need to consider when building your budget. Once you have built your budget, you have a good idea of how much you're going to need. Then you have to figure out, okay, how am I paying for this? Am I going to a bank to finance? Am I going to go out and find an investor? Am I going to take advantage of SBA loans? You know, can I maybe finance it myself, or do I have, you know, friends and family that can help me?
That's important, and I'm sure you're a good resource for those different avenues that tell them where they need to go. You know, angel investors, whatever that is out there, because, and we got the small business development at Florida Gulf Coast University, which a lot of people forget about, and they have so many resources that they can help so many businesses, and they're free.
Yes.
So that's something I don't think we talk about enough, but they're members, and they do an excellent job. So thank you, Tammy. Patrick, we have a question for you. Should I have a lawyer periodically review my business structure and operations?
Well, I obviously I'm going to say yes, but I think that the way I look at it is you have to file your annual business report every year.
Mm-hmm.
You got to file your taxes every year. Well, why don't you have your lawyer give your business a legal checkup at the same time?
Yeah.
Make sure that you've had your annual meeting, so that anything that you've done in the past over the last year, you've got a resolution that says, yes, this was approved. If you, all of those things, because that's the way you build a structure for a business. It makes your accountant's life easier because you've got all those things written down. It makes your life easier if you ever want to finance or grow your business. So having an annual legal checkup to see if there's anything you should do is really a smart way to spend not that much money. I think, you want to make sure you do that. One other point, just to go a little bit to the SBDC thing, Small Business Development Corporation. Mm-hmm. They're a great resource. Another great resource, and it's free, as is SBDC, is SCORE.
They're excellent. Yeah.
They do a great job. They have some great mentors there. So I recommend to a lot of people to go see SCORE as well. We work closely with both of those organizations, and they really do provide a lot of support and help. So, but yeah, as far as an annual business checkup, as I say, you're doing your taxes, you're doing your annual business report, call your lawyer, spend a couple $100 and see, make sure that you're on the right path.
Excellent. SCORE actually is a member in the Naples area, so we know how wonderful they are. But Patrick, since there's many businesses listening right now, and you said annual report in minutes, is that something that they need to make sure they have on file, like something what they met with X amount of people and this is what they did?
It's a great idea, because whenever somebody comes to me and they say either A, I'm going to sell my business, or B, I'm going to go buy a business, the first thing I say is, well, let me take a look at your corporate record book. Mm-hmm. And 99.9% of the time, small businesses don't have one, mm-hmm. or the last time they had a corporate meeting was the day they incorporated. and they haven't done anything since. And so then I have to go and try and reconstruct minutes, reconstruct everything, and do what I call a cleanup resolution that basically says all those things that you didn't think about you were doing for the last 15 years, well, they're now approved. But that's not the way you really should be doing it. You know, it costs a lot of my time and effort and your money to go out and recreate it. So just doing it on an annual basis, getting these things in the book, you know, you get that pretty corporate book that goes on your shelf with the seal in it and everything. Why not use it? Why not put something in there every year?
You know, that sounds like a perfect topic for us to do in the near future for everyone, to get everybody in line. So I think we'll have a couple of years on the same panel for that, right, Tammy?
You know, it just makes life easier to grow your business, frankly.
Absolutely, and they can look back and see where they have been and where they are too, and that's always a good thing to do as well.
Yep.
Brian Chapman, given the circumstances of 2020, how do you develop your team for growth and expansion? And how does this change what you were looking for new employees as you're evolving?
A great topic right now with everything going on. So I think it does change in a lot of ways from a new employee standpoint what we look for. There are some things that are unchanged, but the accountability that's required today from an employee is probably elevated significantly from what it was even 6 or 7 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're looking for that new team member for expansion, I think you have to put a priority on making sure there's that accountability kind of process that they just have. Because you're not going to, you can put systems in place, which obviously we all have systems in place. You can put metrics in place to monitor stuff, but the end of the day, they're more than ever working on their own. We may be casting the vision, we may be casting the goals, but ultimately they're at home or they're out of the office and they have their phone there and they have their computer there. And we've all taken CE courses online. You know how easily you can click through those and really not do anything other than get the certificate at the end. So I think just more than ever is finding the right people that have the ability to work without a lot of oversight. And that's so hard to find in the first 90 days. It's almost hard to measure, but finding those types of team members. I think the other thing too is a flexible team member. You know, I can't remember a time where we were working in the office and then everybody was out of the office and then everybody was back in the office and some people were out of the office. I mean, it's just such a dynamic change there. And, you know, people get frustrated and they get tired of, you know, this idea of, I can't see the person that I used to sit across from or down the hall from. I used to be able to hear them all the time. And why aren't they answering their phone right now? And, you know, maybe they literally got up to go to the bathroom at home and they stepped away from their phone and they're not answering it. And so I think just a lot of flexibility has to be provided, adaptability. I mean, all those able words that we can throw out there. That's you know, that's what we're looking for in a team member today that we're trying to expand with. And then clearly defining the job description of what we consider excellence. So that I mean, it's funny, right? You know, communication with your team has never been more important than in the last 5 or 6 months. I mean, never, ever. And so having clear, concise, effective communication, whether it's on a daily basis, a weekly basis, utilizing the chain of command that exists so that the messages are very, very crystal clear. And if there's any questions or any doubts or any concerns that those are elevated right away, because otherwise it can turn into a runaway train with 42 people working out of their house.
But you know what? One of the things I think that happened during the last 5-6 months is we developed a lot of leaders within companies too. You found out who was actually doing a lot of the work, where sometimes when you're all in a business together and you're all working together, you're not quite sure. You just know it's getting done. But then when they're by themselves, you can see what they're capable of doing. And sometimes people are working a whole lot harder than they did before, so they become better employees because they have to focus. So, you know, I'm finding that with homeschools too, with kids and kids that are learning online. A lot of them now they're just learning independently how to work by themselves and learn things, young children. And I think we're going to have better employees in the future because of what's going on right now from the kids that are learning online, because they're independently learning how to do something without somebody standing on top of them. So thank you very much for that. Our next question goes to Mr. Bill. Bill, I noticed that your company has been ranked in the Inc. 5000 fast and growing businesses in the United States. Would you tell us about that? And I think we have somebody else you can mention that also got that today. So you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's really very humbling to be on that. Inc., for a lot of people that don't know, is a national magazine. It's probably the most predominant business magazine other than Forbes in the United States. And for the last 27 years, they've been conducting Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies. Now, these are private held companies, and it's based on a metric of growth over the last 3 years. So it's revenue based, not employee based or location based. It's revenue based. So they have metrics of how much you need to have to be eligible for it. And there's a few other parameters, and you have to actually submit certified financials for them to review. And, you know, it's not hard. Well, I don't want to say it's not hard. It's actually not easy to get on just the first time. But you realize once you're on there, you have to increase your revenue the next year, starting from what you did previously. So you go back 3 years and you've had a 100% increase. Well, to get on it again, you've got to do a 120% increase. And it keeps going because you have a higher number to increase from. It's very, very difficult. So Brian, you know, I've always looked to Brian and how he's grown his business. He's been in here.
You need to say which Brian. You need to say which Brian. We have to.
Brian Rist, by the way. Brian Rist. He probably doesn't know it, but I've been following his business for years as a silent tutors, as to speak. And I watch others like Theo in your organization as well.
Yeah.
They're just top-notch people.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as a startup entrepreneur years ago, I had no idea. I moved into this area not really knowing anybody. So I was always looking for business leaders. And I wasn't very outgoing when I first started, so I would read a lot of articles, and I was following Brian's success. And his success meant growth. And I watched, there's a fellow named Peter Maldonado, owns a company called Chomps in Naples, and he makes beef jerky. He was in the top 100 of the top 5,000 private businesses. So there's not that many Southwest Florida businesses. So we're really proud of our association in that group. I just received notice, and it's not public yet until next week, that we made the list again this year. So this will make 5 for us. So I finally caught Brian.
Yay. Well, we are very proud of the two of you.
See, in all that time, I thought he was just stalking me.
He was probably doing that too.
I was, and thank you, Brian.
Well, like I said, we're proud to have two as members of the Above Board Chamber. 2 great companies and 2 great leaders that we all can learn from. So congratulations. So Brian, I'm going to ask you the next question. And if you want to add to what Bill just said, please do that as well. So I'll ask you the question. People often go into business so they can make lots of money and provide for their family. But you have a different idea about why someone can have success and why you should go into business. What is that?
Okay, sure. But let me just go back a step. You know, we also kind of have this thing like in business, if you're not growing, you're going the other way. And that's certainly not a way that anybody wants to grow. And I noticed a question while we were on here about timing and whether, you know, because of COVID and all the things going around the world, is now a good time to grow and to start a business. And in reality, this kind of gets to my answer is, you know, that if you start a business with the idea that I want to make a lot of money, I just question whether that's going to be sustainable. I just don't know that that's enough to start a business and to run a business and be successful at a business. You know, I think probably I could speak for all of us. When we start a business, there might be a long time before you make any money, never mind a lot of money. So what you really have to do is you have to have something that a problem that you need to help solve, or a cause that you're trying to make better, or a solution to a problem that you have an answer for. And that's the reason you start a company, and that's the reason you grow a business. And I think if you do that, then you truly could be successful. Money, in the end of the day, personally for me at least, isn't enough to make it work. You work way too many hours, and you give too much, and you take from your family. So it's not, for me, it certainly isn't money. It's helping people. It's teaching, maybe employing people and growing, helping people to grow. And because so much has to do with the employees that you have along the way. So I really would advise people that if you are thinking about going in business, obviously make it something that you love, but have something where you're solving a problem or you're making the world a better place. And then I think you have a much better shot of being successful.
It's a passion, right, Brian?
It absolutely is. It has to be, because
Yeah.
you're going to, and again, I happen to know Bill, so I can speak for him a little bit. This is nowhere near a 9-to-5 job. This is you're giving your heart, your soul, your time, your weekends. You live your business, and if it's not something you love doing, you end up spending your life doing something you don't like doing, and I don't know that that's going to last.
Yeah.
Great point.
Well, we are proud of the two of you, because you both are totally making a difference, because you're growing your company, but you're also helping the community. And in the meantime, you're hiring people in the community and creating, between the two of you, how many employees do you have?
We have 240 right now.
And we're up to 110.
See,
So-
and
It's almost 400 people. That's a lot.
that's a
Plus their
lot.
families and everybody else connected. Plus we all buy material locally. These 240 work for us, but they all get their hair cut. They all drive a car. They all do all these other things as well.
I remember in the last webinar you were on with us, Brian, you were talking about when the virus came, you jumped in and started making masks
Yeah.
for the hospitals. You could help people and stuff. And then all of a sudden your business took off.
Right.
It
Everybody
I'll
should
never
have
forget
problem,
that.
but, and again, I happen to know Bill, and I've known Brian for a while too. It's important that we try to make Southwest Florida a better place. And I think by doing that, we make our businesses stronger, because our community is stronger. And so we had the right equipment to make the help out. And so we did. I heard Bill say that he was making some COVID walls, and
Yeah.
it's not just, again, it's not just about making money. It's about helping to make the world a better place. And I have been very, very lucky in business, and I'm proud to, be on the same list with Bill. But it really is about trying to make Southwest Florida better, or making the world better. So.
And Bill, you were making you make the partitions, right, for people in a lot of places?
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize it. If you've been by that Hertz building, we manufactured all of the interior glass for that whole
Wow.
building in our factory. So that's office partitions, but we're doing a lot of the dividers now. If you go up to a countertop at the assessor's office, we'll do that glass there with a little hole, like a greeting area in a doctor's and dentist's office. So we make a lot of that also.
It's amazing when sometimes things go wrong, new opportunities present themselves. And with each of your businesses, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now, you all were able to sustain your employees. Nobody had to let people go or anything like that. So that is amazing. So my hat's off, if I had one on. So each one of you, because you kept it going. You're part of our community, and you're leaders in our community. So thank you for that. Tammy, your next question is, growing my business even an option right now is growing my business even an option right now due to the virus?
Yeah, and I think
Yes,
you know,
right. Yeah.
this goes with a lot of what we just talked
Mhm.
about. So many businesses right now are in survival mode, and aren't even thinking about growth or expansion. But I think now is a great time to sit down, analyze your business, what are those new opportunities or revenue streams that, you know, you can start working on? You know, are there new and different services or products that you can offer? Are there changes that you can make in the way that you're delivering those services and products? And, you know, I think also you might need to look at the way you're running your business. We have a lot of team members right now working remotely, and we're finding that a lot of us are much more efficient working remotely. And could that possibly change the way that, you know, that we're doing business? Maybe, you know, it's a more virtual office environment than, you know, brick and mortar. So, you know, and we also, you know, when they extended the tax deadline and then the PPP loans came out, we kind of refocused our energy on consulting with our clients and helping them through, you know, just navigating that process. So, you know, I think just being open to change.
It's amazing how many people are actually working from home, and they do work better. I work from my home office, and I do great because I'm not talking to a million people, which I would be doing. So it works out really, really well. And we're going to find, as our environment has changed because of it, in the last couple of months, our water has gotten cleaner, our air has gotten cleaner because there's less cars on the road. There's so many different things. And maybe if less cars are on the road, Mr. Brian up in the corner there, maybe our car insurance might go down in the future. There will be less accidents. So that's on you, Brian. So there's all things that happen. I mean, there's pictures now of the Himalaya Mountains and stuff that you can see them. And in Los Angeles, the air is cleaner. My canal in my backyard, I'm seeing more fish now than I've seen in years because people are at home. So it's amazing how we change and the earth changes. So we're learning a lot of different things, which is really, really interesting. Patrick, you are next. If I am considering growing my business by acquiring another business, what things should I look for or look out for?
Well, that's another one where I always believe in a team approach as well. You know, particularly with the accountant, because they're going to need to look at the books. But the first question typically that I look at in an acquisition situation, if I'm representing the person doing the buying, is do you want to buy the entity? Do you want to buy the shares of the company or the membership interests in the limited liability company? Or you just want to buy the assets? 90% of the time, I recommend that they buy the assets, because in most small business situations, you don't know what kind of possible liabilities follow along if you just buy the entity. You may be buying somebody's sales tax liabilities. You may be buying somebody's payroll tax liabilities. You don't necessarily want to do that. So that's where the first consideration always is, what do you really want to buy? What's valuable to you? Then you need to look at all of the different things. You go back through those corporate books and records. You look at all the contracts that they have, all the lease agreements, all those kind of things. So it's really, you need to look at it, and then you want to look at their books. And you want your accountant, you know, you as the buyer, to talk to their accountant as the seller and go through the books, because small businesses tend to be a little more flexible in how they pay expenses out of their businesses. Tammy's never seen that before, has she? And so, you know, that's where you've got to be, you know, okay, you know, gee, you know, he said he wasn't making any money, but he was taking in a lot of cash. And you know about cash, wink, wink. You know, those kinds of things always come up, and you really, if you're going to buy something, make sure you know what you're buying, make sure that it's unencumbered. And those are the kinds of things that you really need to do. And I'm big on people buying businesses, but they've got to be careful doing it. Just one more add-on to some of the things you were talking about before, as far as what should you do in this environment. This is sort of a commercial I'm giving. The local district chapter of SCORE has done a 6-part webinar series. The last one is next Thursday and it's called Close, Survive, or Thrive. And it's been a 6-part webinar series on just those topics for your business consulting and things like that. the same series is going to be done live again starting on August the 17th, sponsored by the South Florida SBA chapter. And so if you go to the local SBA website, they're doing this 6-part webinar series on, assessing your financial decisions. What are you going to do? Legal ramifications and things like that. So it's just another set of webinars that people might be interested in. Jeannie, you might be interested in offering to some of the people, because it is an SBA sponsored.
And it's anything they put out is excellent, and as well as SCORE.
And I'm promoting to some extent because I'm doing the legal piece of it. I just did. I'm doing the legal piece next Thursday to finish up the SCORE, and then I'll be doing it on September 28th for the SBA piece.
Well, we appreciate. I get a lot of good information from your law firm when I'm looking to put stuff in our newsletter and stuff, and as well as Tammy's her CPA firm. When I go look for things that I know people need. So I know that both of your businesses are my favorite sources after I go to small business development and to Horizon Council and stuff like that. But the two of you always have really good stuff on your website. So congratulations and thank you. Those things are good. Brian Chapman, we only have you for a little bit. So I did see your note, Brian. So go. Let's see what we're going to do. Do you think consumers will be more or less flexible with the way we communicate, operate in the future? How will that impact growth?
I don't know that one.
Simple answer is I think that they will be more flexible for a short term, and then you better have your act together after that. The nice thing about epidemic, is it gives you the opportunity to try things without much repercussion. And I think the greatest opportunity that we had right there was, in our business, we do a lot of prepping, and we sell prepping, we sell preparation. But when we have a hurricane, there's no way to handle the amount of call volume and also the amount of opportunities that happen. It's kind of our binge diet, so to speak, and everything, goes haywire, and, you can't get back to everybody. It's just the way it is. It's like a run on the banks. So our preparation was there, but for a week to 10 days. And, COVID, it wasn't a week or 10-day deal. And so we implemented, and get by, but then you realize, at some point, this is a new reality. It's like the honeymoon wears off of we can do this to this may be the new norm. How do we figure out how to make this the best experience for our clients? And I think we had an opportunity and a window there that might be closing pretty soon, where we had a lot of flexibility. The dog barking in the background at the house, the kids crying on the phone next to my team member while they're talking to a client, that was all forgiven in a way, because it was like understanding, and we all knew what we were going through. But I think knowing how consumers want to communicate, when they want to communicate, and what they're okay with communicating, how safe do they feel with information being communicated. I think the flexibility is there now to where, we took, iPhones and texting and emails and all those basic things that we did to, hey, we don't have to meet. Let's have a Zoom call. Let's do FaceTime. Let's discuss this, in a virtual environment. And I mean, just took it to a whole nother level. And it's like, everything's forgiven if the call drops or the Wi-Fi cuts out or whatever situation takes place. And I think the consumers they wanted it. They just didn't know they wanted it. And then once they realized how easy it was and everybody pushed through that first little bit of hurdle of understanding it, I think we're there. I mean, we may see an entire sales process where you never ever meet who you're working with other than on a face-to-face virtual meeting for 25 years. Yeah. And you call them your Zoom friend.
Zoom, we got lots of Zoom friends. That was an excellent, and I know, Brian, you have to leave. So I just want to thank you for your sponsorship and participating with us today. And
thank you.
We'll see you again on Zoom.
Okay. See you guys.
Nice to meet you.
It's me, Eva.
The next question is for Mr. Bill.
Yo.
Okay, can you explain why you decided to open D3 Glass, which I understand is an expansion of your business? Can you tell us a little about that?
And there was a number of reasons for it. You know, they say in business, there's a business triangle, right? You draw a pyramid and it says price, quality, and time. And the saying is pick two because you can't have three. And we figured the thing that we were missing in our business of My Shower Door was the glass. We were always dependent upon a good product from a vendor, and we weren't receiving that. We ended up buying our glass from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which I call the best of the worst. There were not a lot of good glass vendors around. I moved down from Massachusetts and I bought my glass from Ohio at the time, and it was very, very good. Moving to Florida, the fabricators that were here were not doing a good job. And there wasn't anybody in Southwest Florida. I had to either go to Tampa or Miami, and both of them were terrible. And if anyone's ever dealt with a builder or remodeler, you'll know that they're not the best in the world at scheduling things. So shower doors always came in at the very end, usually on the day of closing. People are moving in and we're trying to install the door because we can measure when the tile guys are done. Then we measure, and it took 2 weeks to get the glass. So builders were yelling at us constantly. So we decided that if we were going to manufacture our own glass, we had to take a look at how much we were purchasing out of state, and could we invest in buying the machinery to make tempered safety glass, how much it would cost us, and what were the benefits? Well, the benefits were astronomical. We would be able to control pricing, quality, and time. So I call it the trifecta. And it was the best move we ever made. And now that we started with D3 for our shower doors, D3 is now able to make the COVID partitions, the glass chair mats, office partitions, wine closets, much more than just shower doors. And we're selling to our competitors. So if My Shower Door doesn't sell a shower door to Jeannie Sweeney, maybe she bought it from a friend, somebody else in Naples or Fort Myers. Well, D3 is still a supplier to them, because we're the only glass manufacturer in Southwest Florida.
Wow.
So that was the biggest decision to do it, and it helped us grow our business vertically. You know, Jeannie, when I saw you putting on this seminar and we were talking about business growth, there's a lot of different types of growth to look at. You can grow vertically like we did with D3. You can grow by opening up more locations across the state, or you can grow by diversifying in your product mix and bringing on new products. Brian's been an expert at doing that. He started off with Storm Smart with different products, and now his Storm Catcher screen is amazing. And sometimes just during the evolution of bringing in new products, you develop a whole different skill set and whole different opportunity. Now the girls got me my coffee, so I'm raring to go. So the growth here for anyone listening isn't just because you have many locations. Yeah. Growth can be internally by bringing on new SKUs, new product mixes, different products to sell to your existing base. Everyone knows the best customer is one that you've already sold. They're already sold on your customer, so why not offer 2 or 3 other products and put it into your mix? And then in our case with D3, we grew vertically. We decided to make some of these things ourselves. So there is different types of growth, and I think a lot of your listeners here, you know, 1 or 2 of the things we talked about may not apply to them, but I think in your growth, they can look at how can I grow my business without putting in a place in Fort Myers and then Sarasota and Orlando. I can grow my business other ways.
You were very inspiring, Mr. Bill.
Thanks, Jeannie. I tried.
That was very good. That was very good. But people need to hear things like that, you know, and that's the purpose of the Above Board Chamber and the webinar, so we can expand everybody's brain so they can learn a little bit more and have them think differently.
You know, one of the things with these webinars, and I think every single person on this panel, like I just learned from Patrick, he's not my attorney. He may be.
Oh, Patrick.
I've got a very good attorney now, but Patrick, your expertise in contractor licensing caught my ear. I just went through an issue there, and I'm probably going to reach out and talk to you about that. But
glad to do it.
One thing about entrepreneurs, because they live in this business and that really is their life, we're willing to share our time, our expertise, our experiences, so that people that want to grow don't make the same mistakes we did. I learned from mistakes, and I'm sure everybody else has learned from mistakes, but it didn't leave us down. We got up, we learned from it, and we got better. So these, you know, Brian and I are both sitting on Dr. K's advisory board at FGCU, and that's what we tell students. Just because you come with an idea and it gets shot down doesn't mean it's a bad idea. Maybe you haven't explained it to somebody in the right way, or you're just trying to pitch it to the wrong audience.
Exactly.
But, you know, we're thrilled when we see these students from FGCU and the entrepreneurship school succeed. It's such a great feeling. But if there's anybody on this webinar that would like to talk to Brian, myself, Patrick, Tammy, Brian Chapman, I'm sure we're all wide open for that. Quick phone call or text. More than willing to help with anybody.
Definitely.
I think one of the most important things in businesses, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to have mentors, to surround you with yourself with people that do things better. I have a team of people with the Above Board Chamber, which we're probably gonna expand, that it's been helping me for going on 10 years. And I just sit there and I throw ideas at them and they talk to me, and it helps grow the Above Board Chamber because we need other people to help us grow.
Well, when Patrick mentioned SCORE, I mean, when I moved to Naples, I used SCORE. They were very, very good. I used the SBDC.
Yep.
There's a tremendous amount of information there. I think some entrepreneurs just feel that they can do it themselves, or an A-type personality, and I'll do it myself. These are free services.
Yeah.
And these guys are building off their wealth of experience. I think they're great things to have.
And it takes longer to do it by yourself. I'm sorry, Brian, go ahead.
Right, and you know, I mean, it's pretty easy to see why Bill's company's been so successful. But we too have spent a lot of time with SBDC, and they've been an amazing resource. And years ago, we spent a long time with SCORE in getting advice. And you know, it's sort of like being in your own lawyer. That's never a great idea. Sometimes we're so deep into the battle within ourselves that we really can't see outside of it. And then these resources that are absolutely free come and just tell you all kinds of things. And they're not trying to sell you anything. They're just trying to help you. And it's kind of a pay it forward type of thing. I will say that, you know, I don't want to get off this Zoom call without saying that, you know, Bill said some awfully nice things about my company, and I certainly think a lot of his company. But Markham Norton, especially, I happen to know Gail the best, has been an amazing mentor to me and to probably most people in Southwest Florida. And a lot of the things that we are involved with giving back to the community and being involved with the community, I really kind of learned from her or watched her and do it. And she is just such an amazing role model. And it's not, that too kind of explains why they've been in business for 41 years. And you know, I am involved in a lot of civic organizations, but I can't think of one I go to that somebody from Markham Norton is a part of it. So I really have to thank you guys, Tammy, for what you do, because you do make Southwest Florida better. So thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Gail, she's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
She does so much, and one of the things I love that she does, she mentors to so many young girls, and she ends up hiring them too, a lot of them too. And she gives them an opportunity in a future that they probably never would have imagined. I mean, if you see her at the Love That Dress, she has piles of clothes that she's buying, all these clothes or dress versus stuff. And you're like, who are they for? And they're for everybody she knows.
Right.
Like Gail has to be one of the most giving women that we know in Southwest Florida on so many levels.
You know,
so each one of your companies.
You bring up a good point. You know, Bill mentioned that we both sit on the board at FGCU for the entrepreneurial school. And, you know, I do it because I really love doing it, but we get to meet some of these students at when they're just getting started, and we see how amazing they are, and we get kind of the first shot at them when they're still in college, and we may work with them for a little while, and you know, some of them are projects, but you get a shot at some really, really amazing talent by being involved in some of these organizations. And that's helped us a lot.
Well, we are blessed with a lot of great leaders like each one of you in our community. Brian, while we have you up, we have a question.
Okay.
If somebody asked you the best advice about starting a business, what would you say to them?
You know, there's so many lessons that you learn along the way. Probably the one lesson that somebody taught me a long time ago that has really meant a lot to me was a saying. It's a really simple saying. It says, businesses don't fail, people quit. And when you start a business, the chances of it being a huge success right out of the box are probably very small. And there'll be a lot of dark days, and money might not be the easiest thing to come by, and it's a really tricky world. And so throwing in the towel is often on people's minds. But if you remember, in my case, I remembered that one saying that said, businesses don't fail, people quit. So I just told myself, if I don't quit, then my business wouldn't fail. And I got through all these tough times, and today we're very blessed on what's happened. So that was a lesson that somebody told me, a mentor of mine, on some very dark days that really changed my life.
Yeah, I think mentors are extremely important to everything you do. Like I said, Connie's on this right now, listening to Connie Ramos Williams at Conrec PR Marketing, and she's one of my mentors. She's,
Sure.
As a matter of fact, Javier works there, and he's our magic man, Wizard of Oz behind our webinars, and they do so much for the Above Board Chamber. So it's people and companies like that help the rest of us, when we all basically work together.
And there's another company that does so much for Southwest Florida.
Yes.
I mean, yeah,
Yep.
Above Board Chamber, but I mean, the backpack thing, and I happen
Yep.
to know Connie and Javier and Tom pretty well, and Rick. And again, they're another group of people that, where do you go and you'll run into somebody there?
Yeah, because they're totally making a difference at all time.
Right.
Tammy,
Yes.
you have lots of clients. What is the one thing you wish they did before they started their business? Before they came to you, call you. But what is if somebody is listening right now for some advice, what is the most fundamentally most important thing that they need to know when they have a business?
Yeah, it's, it is so important to have a good set of books, good financial statements, good, accounting procedures and processes in place. So many clients come to me after the fact, and I look at their financials and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how do you even run your business, with these financials? So, it would be great if, we are involved just at the very beginning, kind of like Patrick said, it's, consulting with us first to make sure that you have that good, firm foundation before moving forward.
One more question I have for you, Tammy. A lot of people got the PPP. Where are we with that? Are they going to start telling us when we're going to start signing papers so we don't have to pay it back? Where are we? If you don't know the answer, the gentleman underneath you, Patrick, knows. So maybe, maybe let's talk a little bit about that right now.
Yeah. So, my gosh, it seems like it changes daily. But I think the deadline to file for a PPP loan, and Patrick, correct me if I'm wrong, but was Saturday.
Okay.
And right. So, I believe there is still some word out there that there might be more changes coming, possibly loans that are $150,000 or less could be automatically forgiven. No need to submit supporting documents, just, basically signing off that you did use the funds the way that you were supposed to. And for other businesses, you will still have to go through that documentation process to make sure that, you use the funds correctly. So, Patrick, do you have anything to?
No, I think you hit it right on the head. Right now, we have truly no idea exactly what they're going to do as far as forgiveness on the loans. You know, you've got the change, the June 5, before June 5, after June 5, you get 5 years or 2 years to pay it back, all those kinds of things. And is it 60 or 75%? You know, all of those are still out there. But the thing that the SBA does is they magically issue these FAQs like on Fridays that allow all of us, like Tammy and myself, to spend the weekend reading SBA FAQs, which are really exciting. And really right now, until there's some legislation passed to clarify it, I think you're best to just keep moving along. If you've got a forgiveness application, get it to Tammy and at least have her start organizing it. Again, make sure you're keeping super good track of the funds, what you're doing with them, because while they may forgive all $150,000 or less loans, they may not. And so you just simply don't know. So as I'm sure Tabby advised everybody, I always advised everybody, put the money in a separate account. You should have done that when you got it. Incredibly close records as to what you spend it for, because there is a chance, and it's still there in the law, that if you spend it for the wrong purposes, not one of the ones allowed, that they can demand that money back immediately, not just not forgive it. Let's say you spend it for outside the box completely, we want all that money back now. And so that's they haven't said they're going to do that. They haven't said they're not going to do that, but the law said that they could. So, you know, it all depends. It's the classic lawyer's answer. It all depends.
Well, a lot of people are, get nervous if they're going to get something from their bank and saying, we want your information right now to say where you use the money. And it's not happening yet. So it's making a lot of people nervous.
Talk to your accountant, talk to your lawyer. Those are the two things. You know, the accountant takes care of the numbers and the lawyer tries to keep you out of trouble. So.
Two good best friends. Patrick, while we have you, I have a question for you. And anybody that's in the attendance, if you want to submit a question, we do have a couple minutes. It would be in the Q&A down on the bottom. So feel free to send a question in to us. Patrick, your question is, someone wants to invest in my business. What are the steps I need to take to protect myself and what I have worked for?
Well, I'm sure Brian and Bill have been through this dance more than once. The one thing you want to look at, and I think it's been talked about here before, is where are other funding sources? You know, and who is this person investing in your business? Mm-hmm. Is it a passive investor, somebody that's just going to put some cash in and expect a return? Do they want to put it in as a loan? Do they want to put it in as taking some equity out of you? Is there another way to get money? Can you borrow money from the SBA? Can you fund it through your own money? Can you fund it through cash flow? Best way to fund it is if you can fund it through cash flow. SBA loans are good, except for the fact, and I'm dealing with several of them right now, where people defaulted on SBA loans, and guess what? The SBA can come after your homestead. They can come after just about anything. So their collection methods are a little bit stronger than just your regular bank loan. So SBA loans they come with a caveat with them. There's some additional enforcement mechanisms that you may want to keep an eye out for. But if you just got somebody investing, what you really want to do is, again, have your accountant and your lawyer look very carefully at how that investment is structured and what they're taking from you. It's your business, you built it, you want to control it. So you don't want to sell 51% of your business to an investor. You know, then all of a sudden, minority partners have no rights effectively. You know, you can argue that, there's equity and all this. That's where lawyers get rich, is litigating those kinds of situations. So what you want to do is you try and avoid, if at all possible, taking on a majority partner. And then really know what the value of your business is. Go to somebody like Marcum Norton and have them value your business and tell you, this guy wants to put in $100,000 for 50% of your business, but your business is worth $500,000. Why would you do that? He really should only be getting X percentage. So make sure that you understand the numbers and understand your needs. Yeah, there are those days when you're looking at the checking account and it's down to zero and you don't know how you're going to make the next payroll. And there's a guy that comes along and says, I'll give you $20,000 to make payroll, and boom, you give him your whole business. that's not a good time to make that decision. And I think Brian and Bill can both attest to the fact, don't make those kinds of decisions in those kinds of situations. If you've got a mentor, talk to them, say, what else can I do? Because I think that's where you really need to look at it. But before you take on an investor, make sure that you sit back and look at it through all different lenses, and potentially, as Bill and Brian and everybody said, talk to somebody that's in business, somebody that you can trust, and say, hey, here's the deal. Should I take it? What do you think of it? Because you really don't want to have a partner that you don't know. The other important piece is, if you do have a partner, if you do have a business investor, if you have somebody else in your business, make sure that you have some kind of an arrangement for if they die or get disabled, what happens to their ownership. Because the last thing you want is for your ownership, his ownership or her ownership in your business to become part of an estate fight or a divorce fight. You want to have the ability to get that share back from them in case something untoward happens, because you don't want a partner that you didn't plan for.
Interesting. That's an awful lot of good points to think about when people want to do that. So, and it just goes back into the whole thing. We need an attorney. We need a CPA, and we need mentors. You know, if you're going to have a business, don't go out and do it all by yourself and think you can, because you're missing things. You're missing small business development. You're missing so many things out there that, you know, a lot of people are afraid to do anything because of cost. But there's things that, and they're friends, and they're, you know, that will help you and guide you. So all the businesses that are listening today, I hope they're listening to this advice. I'm going to ask Bill. Bill, you've been listening to this program for the last almost hour and a half. What would you like to add to it that you felt we haven't mentioned?
I'll tell you, Patrick just hit some really good ones, because I'm going through it myself. We have an investor that is 80 some odd years old and going through health problems.
Yeah.
And now we've got to start backing him out of his ownership.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing. Now, fortunately, we have an operating agreement and a buy-sell agreement where it was all listed. But boy, that is so true, Patrick. Now, this investor was our mentor. So, you know, it's a very known entity. But in Patrick says, if you had somebody there that was unknown, then they go through a divorce. You don't know what's going to happen to your shares unless you have it pre-planned. Yeah. That is huge advice when you're opening a business. Absolutely huge advice. The right structure, the right legal entity makes all the difference in the world. And those shares, what portion of shares do they have? Do they make decisions in your boardroom? Are they directing the growth of the company, or are they choking the company by not allowing it to grow? Very, very important. Now, as our growth is, we took long-time employees and gave them shares, and we did it to entice them to keep them with the company. Mm-hmm. We didn't want competitors poaching them and taking them, and that's happening a lot, or at least it did until the pandemic hit. But we wanted them to have ownership in the company, and that's very valuable also. But it's not one answer fits all for every business. We started as a family business, so we knew our family had the ownership. But as we grew, we can only do so much even as a family. So when you're growing locationally and opening up new locations, you can't be there every day. So that's where we like to bring in these investor partners, but we want them to be active partners. Now, there's a lot of good business models out there. Outback and Bonefish Grill have proprietary business models where the managers buy into the business and actually have ownership in it. That's why they put so many hours in. And there's a lot of good models out there. And this is where your SCORE and SBDC can help you build and pick out the model that suits you best and what you want to do. Very important topics for growth. I don't think a lot of people that logged on to this webinar expected to hear a lot of this, but it's really important.
Yeah, I'm sorry about your first investor and mentor. That's, you know, what a great opportunity you have, but it's also scary if somebody else in this family jumps in and they're sitting at your board and making decisions. So
absolutely,
there's a lot of things to think about when you have a business and you bring in investors and different people. So that was really good advice, Bill.
Yeah, and the second part is with your accountant, and Tammy hit on that also. What's the value? You can't arbitrarily say X amount of dollars for that. Business really has to be evaluated. How strong is your business? What is the real value? That's probably the most difficult decision, whether you're selling a business or trying to sell shares in your business. What is the value now? What's it going to be projected for? What I projected for this year didn't happen once March hit.
Yeah.
Changes everything. So, you're going to have professionals that understand trends and what could happen and give you those scenarios, and you can make good professional decisions. I think that's great advice. And Jeannie, it's fantastic to have this type of genre on this board because you're hearing it from different angles.
Yeah, that's why we like to do panels, because we learn from a bunch of different people, because there's always different situations that each business is in. So this is excellent advice. Brian, I'd like you to add to this, or if there's some other topic you would like to speak about, because you are well versed.
Thanks. Well, there's another question that was just asked online that maybe I'd like to try to get to, because I know we're running out of time. And it said, it's to you and I, Bill. It says, as owners of two largest manufacturers and businesses in Southwest Florida, what do you feel has had the biggest impact on your growth and success? And, that's, in our case, it's not one simple answer. And we've kind of talked about some of this. I will tell you that, as a leader of my company, I still go to school and I continue to learn. And so I'm working to get my master's degree. So I don't know how you can lead a company if you're not trying to make yourself better. I don't know how your company gets better if you don't make yourself better. So I continue to do that. I truly believe, and this is kind of one of the reasons I'm here, is you get involved in what's going on in Southwest Florida. And there's a funny thing about giving, and it seems like, for me at least, every time I give, if you give for the right reason, you get so much more back. So yeah, we're all busy, and I have a busy day today, but we're here doing this thing so that we can maybe help somebody else. And it's funny how you do that, and then I end up getting more out of it than I give. So there's a lot of things that we do. We talked about growth, and we have this thing that we really truly believe in customer service. So we work really, really hard on customer service. So today I'm proud to say that 62% of the customers that we do business with are referral-based businesses. And I think that's something that Bill said earlier, that the easiest person to do business with is someone you've already done business with. So it's a lot of different things you do that make your business strong. And I don't know that it's one, because they kind of all interrelated, but being involved in the community, just trying to make Southwest Florida a better place, and continuing to evolve as the leader of a company. I think it takes all those things to get things moving.
Jeannie, let me add into that, because we developed our own in-house training programs. I spent a lot of money on that. You go to the grocery store, don't you get frustrated when they have a brand new register person there and they're just learning? So the store threw them on the register line, and there's 10 people in line, and this person's struggling. It's not fair to that employee. It's not fair to the customers. We feel the same way. I'm not going to put a brand new shower door installer into your house and learn on the job. So we built training facilities, and I spend money training people in-house here. So as a manufacturer, I think giving to those employees, showing them that you care by fully training them properly for the job, just shows that employee that you really do care. You want to give them the tools to succeed, and you want to follow up on that and make sure they succeed. Because when they succeed, we all succeed. There's a saying out there, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, you go as a team. We feel that it's team building. So we train. We train myself, just like Brian said. I take courses online. I went to Beth Hagen's Fast Track course through the Kaufman School of Entrepreneurship. It was phenomenal. I try and get as much education in for myself so that I can pass it down to the other people that work together with us. It's all about culture building, where they want to come into work, not that they have to come into work. When we let people stay home for the full month of April, we shut down, and they all got paid. Best move ever. It was the best culture building thing that ever happened. We turned something bad into something good. Everybody wanted to come back to work and they appreciated your job. Now you read in the paper, this one's closing down, this one's closing down. They see it. We're still building. We're still growing. I think it's a big thing in how you treat those employees. And that's why you get people coming in asking to work for you. That's important.
It's extremely important. People want to go with companies that take care of their personnel that work for them, you know,
Absolutely.
that they feel secure. And we actually had a panel, I think Brian was on it a couple months ago, and we talked about that, the different things that the companies were doing and how the owners stayed in touch with each person. So they felt secure, you know, and that's, right now, there's a lot of people that don't feel secure. We do have a question real fast we're going to try to do from Ashley from Big Brothers and Big Sisters, which I love, and I'm on their board. If you could give advice to a nonprofit organization on marketing and where to focus their small budget and tools, where would you recommend the focus be? Who wants to touch that?
I'll start. I mean, one of probably the most cost-effective ways of marketing is digital marketing, and sometimes it doesn't even cost anything. You know, having Facebook, having Twitter, having all those different ones is a really good place to go. Now you have to know what your target is and target it correctly, but you get a lot of bang for your buck in digital marketing.
Absolutely. I'm the perfect example of social media. I live on social media, and you can put a lot of things out there and you can reach a lot of things. And I think it's really important, Ashley, that you keep it out there, and you do with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. And I think one of the problems with some nonprofits or businesses, they're not out there, so nobody knows they exist anymore. I remember a story a couple months ago that somebody told me that a dentist had closed. And I said, what does that mean they closed? And it was like March, April or something like that. And they said, well, they're not open. And I said, what does that mean? Have they shut down temporarily, or are they really shut down? And this person was ready to go to another dentist. I said, give them a call, because I think it's a communication thing. That's exactly what it was. They had just closed down temporarily, but they weren't doing anything to let people know they were still alive. And that's happening with a lot of businesses. So people stop going, and what they do is, oh, I'll just find another dentist or another this or another that.
I don't think I go on Facebook or LinkedIn and I don't see Bill or his son or somebody on there. I mean, I don't know how many hours you guys spend on there, but I see them there all the time.
We've got a marketing team, but hey, I'm not a big TV watcher. I'll just as soon, if my wife watches TV at night, we'll sit together. I'll be on my phone doing whatever I can. If we did a good installation, I like to share it. If we get good reviews from customers, I like to share it. I'll have interaction with people at 11 o'clock at night. Doesn't bother me at all.
But that's important to do, because then people know you're there. And there are people that basically that have money and they want to rehab their houses. Brian told us a couple months ago when it got really crazy with the virus, all of a sudden people weren't going on vacation. They weren't doing all these different things. And guess what they did? They put storm shutters up. And people need to do their bathrooms over, and they need their businesses to have that glass up. So, we still need that. We need our taxes to look out. Even though it was extended for a certain amount of time, we still have to have the professionals take care of us, and we need our lawyers to be there all the time for us as well. So each one of you have added so much to this program, and I cannot thank you enough. I cannot thank our sponsors who did a phenomenal job, and they're just out there making our world a better place. And Javier, our guy behind our Wizard of Oz, behind all of our programs on the webinars, he's out there just making sure that it's running well. And I can't thank everybody enough. We've got a bunch of new webinars that are coming up. We have one next week on what you need to know about wellness. We have some rock stars on that. One is the Blue Zone. I don't know if everybody's familiar with the Blue Zone. The Blue Zone is a very, very cool organization. They're in Naples right now, and they're all over the world. And what they do is they study people that lived away in their hundreds and why they do that, and what they eat, and how their environment, and all these different things. So we have some amazing people next Thursday for that program. And then we have some other ones coming up on how to do webinars and how to do podcasts and we have a bunch of things we're really proud of. So on behalf of the Above Board Chamber, I just want to thank each one of you. You all came, you all gave. I always say at our regular meetings when we meet in person that when God puts us into the world, he gives us gifts, but they're not gifts until we give them away. So I want to thank each one of you for giving away your gifts today, because you totally made a difference. And I cannot thank you enough. And our, where are they? Our gallery people, thank you for joining us. And I hope you enjoyed the program. I also want to let everybody know, probably within an hour or two, we will be sending out this program. So if you missed part of it, if you want to listen to it again from some advice from these great experts, you will be getting it. So have a great day, and we look forward to seeing everybody again soon. Brian, you have something to say?
Thanks for letting us participate.
Okay, thank you, everyone. God bless. Bye-bye.